All right, welcome to the class, to the Daily Miracle class with the daily lessons, the key lessons from the Course in Miracles. So today I want to start with a prayer 275 from the workbook, and it is an healing prayer. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read that to you as a start, as a meditation or contemplation. So we already got into, by listening to the music, into say an attitude of listening, of, oh yeah, wait a minute, yeah, what, we do something else here. Quieting down, listening. Oh yeah, here's light, here's love. Here is another participant that wants to join too. So it is like that, like quiet, listen to God's healing voice, because it speaks to me. It speaks to me right now. See, can you feel that? It's like shh, calm down. It's happening here. Like God's healing voice is speaking to me. Listen. So, calm down. Listen. God's healing voice protects all things today. Let us today attend the voice of God, which speaks an ancient lesson, no more true today than any other day. Yet has this day been chosen as the time when we will seek and hear and learn and understand. Join me in hearing, for the voice of God tells us of the things we cannot understand alone, nor learn apart. It is in this that all things are protected. And in this the healing of the voice of God is found. In this the healing of the voice of God is found. Your healing voice protects all things today. And so I leave all things to you. I need be anxious over nothing. For your voice will tell me what to do, where to go, whom to speak to, and what to say to him, what thoughts to think, what words to give the world. The safety that I bring is given me. Father, your voice protects all things through me. God's healing voice protects all things today. Yeah, so we take this with us in that sense. We listen to that in all our doings, in our movements, in our thoughts. That is, it's being guided. It is being, we're moved to certain actions and certain things and certain people and certain, So that is going on. That is engaged. So we definitely use this today in what we read, in what will be said So God's healing voice protects all things. It protects all things. So that's a safety and security that you're looking for, that you want to be aware of, that is with you. So that's the main line through everything that we do today. So, and this was given me to share with you as an extension of this healing voice that is speaking to me. And so the key lesson that we do today, that we use today, I'm only using a couple of paragraphs of it, but it will hold that what is possible, so to speak, what is given us. And the lesson is, when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. So in listening to this healing voice, and by opening up to receive that for myself, the thing that happens is that it radiates throughout the universe. It is not just you receive this for yourself. Yes, you do. And the whole universe is included in that at the same time. So you never know how that works. And it is not necessary to know how it works either. But certainly, when you receive this, and we will read this too, when you receive this for yourself, you're not receiving it for yourself alone. So, and that is not like, when I hear it myself say, it is like, no, that doesn't mean what you think it means, or it doesn't mean how you can hear this as, okay, so I have to receive it for myself, then somebody else will have the benefit of it too. Like, not even that. No, it is more like, if I allow myself to be, say, affected by it, and say, touched by it, your brothers will join in the pleasure, the happiness that brings. So if you allow that healing to occur to you, oh my God, you heal everyone around you with your smile, and everyone smiles back at you in that sense. It's like, yes, oh great, it's lovely, you receive this for yourself. I can feel your communication, your openness, your receptiveness. You can feel that. When somebody receives that, you can feel that. It is automatic. It's like, yes, this is how we know each other. So that is also here in the lesson when we share that. So it's continuously not about the words. It's not about doing these lessons. No, it's about receiving that happiness for you. Receiving that happiness in whatever way it can come to you. It can be by reading this lesson. It can be by you sitting quiet and allowing something to happen to you. Maybe a little bit more open than ever before. Receiving just, say, a flash of light, of a moment of communication for yourself. However that comes to you, it is not like that you have to do this, or you have to do that, or you have to feel a click, or you have to. No, this is coming to you in your way, and it's about your experience of it. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. So this is on page, from the Urtext, page 357. Lesson 137. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. And this lesson came in the Miracle Healer's Handbook, as we did it, say, some time ago in the Miracle Work. We went through the Miracle Healer's Handbook, and one of the main lessons in there is, when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. So today we're actually in the middle of a healing circle. We are actually joining our minds for healing. And that's what's happening. And you can feel that. Like, you can feel that's a necessity in this instant. I can feel that, absolutely. And you can feel that. So this is the time appointed to receive that healing for yourself. Today's idea, when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone, remains the central thought on which salvation rests. For healing is the opposite of all the world's ideas which dwell on sickness and on separate states. Sickness is a retreat from others, a shutting off of joining. It becomes a door that closes on a separate self and keeps it isolated and alone. See, this is interesting. So it starts with the first sentence. Today's idea remains the central thought on which salvation rests. So we said the other day, salvation, the part that has to do with salvation is always connected to perception. Perception is literally the only thing that needs forgiveness and salvation. So it brings you to the door of heaven. You know, this is how we said it the other day too. It's like perception, using your senses, mesmerism, however you want to call it, the illusion, the dream, forgiveness of it, what you think that you see your brother do has actually not occurred, is actually already over. Your perception is already over, and you don't understand that right away, but you can accept it right away. And so that makes it clear to you that salvation has to do with everything up to the gate of heaven, up to the door to heaven. Because when you recognize your oneness with your brother, you see that your perception was useless in terms of you actually use your perception to distinguish, to compare and to compete. And all this is what we do with, I have a bigger car than you, my house is bigger, yeah, you know, who knows what you perceive. Fill in the blanks for yourself. It's like, so it's always a comparison, an analysis, comparison, competition. This has all to do with perceiving contrast, perceiving duality, perceiving polarity. And so all that is the games we play on this earth, so to speak, to make ourselves to something that we're not. But say it takes a moment for you to lay down your toys of doing that. So that's what we call salvation. Salvation is in fact putting away your toys and not using perception to use against your brother, really, or to attack yourself or God. It's like, well, see, I'm not going to give examples of that. You know this, and if you don't know, then think about it. See how you use perception to attack yourself and your brother. Like, that's continuous. It's embedded in the idea of perception. You can only perceive differences with your senses. Otherwise you wouldn't see it. So, first sentence was a very important one. It brings us back to where we stopped last time. Today's idea remains the central thought on which salvation rests. For healing is the opposite of all the world's ideas which dwell on sickness and on separate states. Sickness is a retreat from others and a shutting off of joining. It becomes a door that closes on a separate self and keeps it isolated and alone. It keeps it isolated and alone. So it's like sickness is isolation. That's what it says in the next paragraph too. Sickness is isolation. So in fact you shut yourself off from communication with your brother, from having an experience of oneness with your brother. Now you choose your own, your own little space where you can suffer, in fact. So that is what is being shared here. Sickness is isolation. So I continue in paragraph 3. It is impossible that anyone be healed alone. In sickness must he be apart and separate, but healing is his own decision to be one again, and to accept his self with all its part intact and unassailed. In sickness does his self appear to be dismembered, and without the unity which gives it life. But healing is accomplished as he sees the body has no power to attack the universal oneness of God's Son. Sickness would prove that lies must be the truth, but healing demonstrates that truth is true. And see, that's an interesting part to look at, because it is like the experience of healing can then be said as a moment of joining. It's like, in fact, you let go of your defenses. You see in the other lesson that we have, is sickness is a defense against the truth. So it's like you actively are defending yourself, trying to keep up with separating yourself off from what is. And so by letting the walls cave in, and by letting your world fall apart, coming to the place where you are not defending yourself anymore, you see that you melt into an experience of connectedness. See, this you can imagine too, maybe not achieve immediately, but you know that it has to do with it. So that it is very comparable in that sense to a feeling or a moment of forgiveness. If you are in a fight with someone and you have an argument, you have a conflict, and you come to the point where you think by yourself like, well, there's no use for me in having this. I'm gonna give up. I'm not going to defend myself anymore. I'm gonna just see if I can extend my love to this person instead of attacking. And then you see, which is like a miraculous occurrence, in fact, because suddenly you can be open to receive the communication with your brother. See, and this is the same with sickness. If you want to compare it, I use comparison now, like as one of the characteristics of separation. Isn't that interesting? But I use it in a way of like comparing that it's actually, say, a very much the same experience. You defend yourself no more. You let your defenses fall apart, and suddenly you are in an experience of connectedness. You feel the warmth again. You feel your heart opening up again. Like, oh, what was I thinking? What was I doing? What was all this for? What did I do to myself? And sometimes that comes like way after you don't have any symptoms anymore, or when the relationship might be broken. Suddenly you come to the inside of, oh my God, what was I doing? I was fighting so badly, and now when I let it fall apart, when I let my ideas about it fall apart, I feel so much better. I finally can release my defenses, and that feels so much better. So then it is like here's a possibility to stay in this place where you continuously let your world fall apart, in fact, where you continuously stay in a state of forgiveness and not defending yourself and not thinking that you need to compare or to compete, but coming to the place where you feel that you want to extend the love that you are to your brother. So that is what we're talking about here. So healing, in paragraph 5, healing might thus be called a counter-dream which cancels out the dream of sickness in the name of truth, but not in truth itself. Just as forgiveness overlooks all sins that never were accomplished, healing but removes illusions that have not occurred, just as the real world will arise to take the place of what has never been at all. Healing offers restitution for imagined states and false ideas which dreams embroider into pictures of the truth. So I'll read that once more, because that's a delicious sentence. Just as the real world will arise to take the place of what has never been at all, healing offers restitution for imagined states and false ideas which dreams embroider into pictures of the truth. See, this is lovely written. Like, it offers restitution. So it's like, in my little scary dream of sickness, of separation, of attacking my brother, or however you want to call it, it's like in the fear for my brother and for myself, for God maybe, in my fear I created literally like a situation, and an imagined state in which I had the worst nightmare. It was like a hallucination. It was like a psychosis of separation. How scary was that? And those who have been gone through say an illness or a sickness know exactly what I'm talking about, in the sense of, it is so scary. Suddenly nothing seems to be certain anymore, and you enter into a state where you actually don't recognize yourself, and you seem to be like completely thrown in a world that determines what you are and what is happening with you. Like, you seem to lose all control over your situation as you know it from before. So here then, the healing part is then the counter dream, which allows something else to happen, in which you start to feel yourself again, and you feel your expansion or your communication again, and you feel that you come into a certain place inside yourself where you don't have to defend yourself, you don't have to hold anything up, but can just be, whatever it is, something like that. That's one way of expressing it, at least. So that I try to give it hands and feet, as you can tell. I try to make it so palpable and so easily recognizable, because then you know what I'm talking about. You know what this is about. See, and the thing is then, with the imagined state, that it is always based on, say, on the body, on perception, on time. Like, oh yeah, the illness that you have developed in the last blah blah years is the cause of that is this, and it will look like that, and your process of healing will be like this, and if you're lucky you get healed, and maybe not. So in other words, you enter into a place where everything is uncertain, but very much related to time. So you don't know if you have enough time to recover. You might end up dead. That's another scary idea. You might end up dead in this nightmare of yours, misidentifying yourself with an object that you're proved by your own perception, by your own, say, projections. So that is a total nightmare. That is so scary, and you know this. So the counter dream is totally different. Than the counter dream is more like the place where this all calms down, where suddenly you wake up out of your nightmare and say, like, wow, God does not want this of me. God is a giving, loving God. What I am experiencing has nothing to do with that. And I want that healing to occur to me. I want that to see that. So, except from this lesson, which we're going to read a little bit more maybe later, I want to make a little jump to chapter 12 in the Urtext, which is actually chapter 13 in the regular Course in Miracles, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so page 134, finding the present. So on paragraph 4, time can release as well as imprison, depending on whose interpretation of it you use. Time can release as well as imprison, depending on whose interpretation of it you use. Past, present and future are not continuous, unless you force continuity on them. Past, present and future are not continuous. There's no link to the past. There's no continuity in time. Unless you force the continuity on it by thinking that it's real. You can perceive them as continuous and make them so for you. But do not be deceived and then believe that this is how it is. For to believe that reality is what you would have it be, according to your belief that reality is what you would have it be, according to your use for it, is delusional. I'll repeat that once more. But do not be deceived, and then believe that this is how it is. For to believe that reality is what you would have it be, according to your use for it, is delusional. You would destroy time's continuity by breaking it into past, present and future for your own purposes. You would destroy time's continuity by breaking it into past, present and future for your own purposes. You would anticipate the future on basis of your past. So these are all the things that we do. It's like you base a future on your past experiences. You say like, well, no, I've learned from the past and I'm not going to do that ever again. So there you have it. How many times have you said that? So this is what you're doing. And you want a different future, but actually you're making your future the same as the past. So even in looking at time, it is the same. Future and past is actually the same. You would anticipate the future on basis of your past experience and plan for it accordingly. And by doing so, you are aligning past and future, and not allowing the miracles which should intervene between them to free you to be born again. Okay, so there's the miracle. So we continue with the next paragraph, and then I'll share something about that. The miracles enables you to see your brother without his past, and so perceive him as born again. His errors are all past, and by perceiving him without them, you are releasing him. And since his past is yours, you share in this release. Let no dark cloud of your past obscure him now, for truth lies only in the present, and you will find it if you seek it there. Okay, so I'm leaving this now for what it is. I'm leaving this now. I'll share something about it. So one of the sentences that I got in touch with today too, I shared this on the WhatsApp group that we have, is this. And so from chapter 13 in the Urtext, all therapy is released from the past, and that is why the Holy Spirit is the only therapist. He teaches that the past does not exist, a fact which belongs to the sphere of knowledge, and which therefore no one in the world knows. He teaches that the past does not exist, a fact which belongs to the sphere of knowledge, and which therefore no one in the world knows. That to me is such an amazing idea. See, and here we come, in fact, back to the place where salvation works. Like salvation works up to the gate of heaven, because it has to do with perception, and entering into on the edge of it say, entering into the present moment is then also like entering into heaven, in fact, because suddenly you're able to see your brother being born again. You see your brother as he really is, and when you see that, it is like dissolving all ideas that you ever held about your brother, and you cannot but join with him. It's like a melt into oneness with him. So that is happening here. That is what's being put into words here, and I love that. It's like, even though we're not doing much with the part of knowledge, like that speaks of itself. It doesn't need an explanation. So all the work that we do, all the therapy as it is being shared here, all the therapy that's taking place by the Holy Spirit is the release of the past. The release of your past ideas about yourself, about God, about everything, your brother, and all that. So all the exercises that we do, all the forgiveness that we do, has to do with giving up an imagined state that we had, in which we think that our brother is separate from ourselves, and thinking that we're right because of what we see, hear, and think. That is in a nutshell the summary of healing and of say what is going on with the Course in Miracles. In fact, that is exactly the part that we look at. And enough to practice, right? So it is the curriculum. It is the curriculum that you go through. But there's a lot to practice. There's a lot to do. And that's an amazing phenomena, in fact, that you continuously, on a daily basis, have so much material to work with that actually that you have to forgive your brother, that you still walk around with ideas, projecting it into the future, missing this precious present moment. And walking around wondering, like, why am I not getting it? Or what's going on? What is going on in this healing procedure? Why am I not experiencing an holy instant? Or all these ideas. Like, certainly you hold on to something in the past if you don't experience that. Because if you let go of it, in that release, you already start to communicate. And so to discover that you're still holding on to something is very good to have in your awareness. Like, there must be something I'm still holding on to because I'm not experiencing it in a way that I know to be true, that really aligns me with God, with light and love. So that's why this is a great course in that sense, because it really deeply digs into the idea, no, there is no past, no, there's no future, no, this moment is all that there is. And you can enter into that moment by leaving all your ideas behind, by leaving that for just a moment. The ideas might come up, but you're not going to do anything with them. You're not going to validate them. You're not going to give them any value. See, and then in fact it is healing you, not alone. If like, it's really also an interaction with your brother. If you are not engaging with your brother in the way that you used to as a human being, then you already shine your light, in fact, to your brother by not responding in the socially acceptable way that you expect of yourself to respond, as being taught by yourself from your human nature. So you're not going to respond to that in that old way. No, we'll do it different. We say, just like we started with the prayers, like, we do this differently. It is listening. It is feeling that you're guided, seeing that no, nothing is what it appears to be. No, the scene that you walk into, the place that you go to, that you feel moved to go to, is not what you think it is. And what you have to do there has nothing to do with what you think that you have to do there. So that works as well for the grocery store, as the butcher, as the who knows where you go, the gas station guy. So you never know why you do the things that you do. In that openness, every place becomes a miraculous place. Every ground becomes holy ground. That makes it different, because you allow it to be different. You're not going to say copy and paste the past on it. So that's why I always emphasize a lot, say especially at the beginning of our sessions, like, okay, this is a new moment, we start all over again. It's like, it's right here, nothing else is occurring, there is nothing else going on, nothing happened before, nothing will happen in the future. Here we are. This is it. Be present here. Allow your brother to reveal himself to you. Don't think that you already know who is. It's like, that's for a human being that goes automatic. You have an idea about your brother when you trust your eyes and your thoughts about him. Then you know exactly, and you call it even, say, knowledge about people wise, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know the regular name for it. But it's like you think that is knowledge, or the common knowledge that we share as human beings. The common knowledge is not knowledge at all. No, it's an idea based on the past. So, no, there is no common knowledge in humanhood. There's no common knowledge. So everything is fresh and new if you allow that to be that way. That will change your world. That will radiate all through the universe. That's where you feel your connectedness, because it literally is connected to the truth and not anything else. It is connected to the truth because the truth is brand new. It's born in each moment. It is in a continuous birth, And you know that. And you actually recognize that when I say that. So that is so great about what is being offered here in the lessons that we do. When I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. No, of course not. Of course not. When you look at it this way, no. Your place in the universe becomes completely different. Suddenly you start to communicate with it instead of thinking you're a separate entity. So that makes everything different. Okay, I said it. Like, what was that again? Well, no, okay, so let's keep it simple. There's no past. So you don't see anything with your eyes and ears. Don't believe what you see. Don't believe what you hear. It has nothing to do with reality. So cancel out your perception and you enter into knowledge, in fact. Cancel out your perception and you forgive your brother, because you actually see him for who he is. He's lovely. He's a great brother. Look at him or her. Look at her. It's like, wow, this is a star. My eyes are opened. I can see it. Oh, well, it's even too much for words. Like, you join with one another automatically when you recognize that. So all the other things that we do in doubting, asking questions, analyzing, ignoring, you name all these things, is in fact not seeing at all, not really wanting to connect with your brother. No, it's really about, that is really holding on to a past idea. So yeah, it's a waste of time in that sense. And so until you see, so you can use time constructively if you want. And that means then, well, if you are aware in just this moment that you're holding on to the past, let it go. That's how you can use time constructively. If you think like, well, this, I really don't like that guy, I really don't want to go there because this and this and this, as soon as you feel that you say that, you actually you feel like an angel is tapping on your shoulder. It's like, what did you just say? Are you really thinking that that is the reality that's taking place here? Well, you know better. Come on, let's go. Let go of that idea. Like, don't defend yourself with your great opinions. Don't defend yourself with your great ideas. So, hey, then everything changes. Everything changes. So you need fresh, new experiences with that. And that's why we do this course. It's like, yeah, anything that helps to let go of the past and to see my brother as who he really is totally welcome and necessary. You can agree with me on that. It is necessary, absolutely. So thank you for letting me tell you that and recognizing that with me and joining with me in the excitement of seeing each other as who we really are, like as taking part in the celebration of the homecoming of all of us. This is what the invitation is. So, welcome home. Thank you so much. And I'm not seeing you soon. I'm seeing you now, or I don't see you at all. Thank you.